Now this part here, given that the first, third, and the fourth term of AP are consecutive terms of a GP, now this is where it becomes a bit tricky. You have the first term here, the AP. So I'm going to use a normal nomenclature, okay? First term, just write it down lah. So A. The third term, you know that T3 is actually A plus 2D, right? Then T4 is A plus 3D. Right? Write it down first. Now, they are consecutive terms of a GP. This is very typical. So, how do we write this down? If they are consecutive terms, so meaning, if this is, let me write down for you. Q1 and T4, they are consecutive terms of GP, meaning this is multiplied by R, right? Okay. So the first thing you must understand is this, because these are not normal questions, fundamental questions, they're not basic questions anymore. So this one will be T3 divided by T1 equals to T4 divided by D3. Is that okay? You can understand? So each part of the sentence, try and siphon out some information. So this is actually a common difference. Okay, so settled. Okay, this one I'll put aside first. I will explain later. The first 20 even number term is 960. So because this is jam-packed with so much stuff, I'm going to put this aside. Okay, I'm going to write this down as the first sum of the first 20 even numbered. Is 960. Okay, later we talk about that. But before that, we try and understand this one first. So we already established that these are T3. So I can just write this down. A plus 2D over A is A plus 3D over A plus. This is a very typical one. So the common ratio. Like that. Okay. So of course, just like any good secondary school student or JC student, what you do is you just cross multiply. Okay. Then you just cross multiply. This case here will be A plus 2D square equals to A plus 3D. Slowly. Then what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to just expand both sides. And I believe this part here should be fine, right? This is A square plus 4AD plus 4D square equals to AD square AD. So you simplify this to be AD plus 4D square equals to 0. So D equals to A plus 4D. Now this one here, the first 20 even number term is what students usually have problem. So from the first part, we already know, let me just write this down. We can actually relate A and D. So this case here, we know that D equals to 0 or A equals to minus 4D, right? So this is okay. This one reject, as D cannot be 0. If D is 0, then of course it's not, it's still AP, but it's just a constant term. We are not looking at D equals to 0. We're not that interested if it's, I don't think D should be 0. Yeah, we don't want D to be 0. Okay, now, the first 20 even numbered terms, now let's say the first term is A, second term is A plus D, third term is A plus 2D, the fourth term is A plus 3D, fifth term is A plus 4D, A plus 5D. I'm doing this so you can follow me. Now, this is the first term. This is first term, second term, third term, fourth term. So this one, I'll assume that you already know. Okay, they say the first 20 even term. Now, this is, take note, if you take a fixed interval out from an AP, it will still be an AP. If you take, it doesn't matter, it can be even number, odd number term, or even like 3 terms in 3n or anything, any fixed interval, as long as you take it out, right, it will preserve the progression. So for example, if you take a fixed interval of over even numbered terms from GP, it will still be a GP. You take from AP, it will still be a AP. Okay, just that the first term will be a bit different now. So this will be plus 2D common difference, right? This. So now the first term is A plus 2D. The common difference is 2D. This is very important. So it helps to understand why sometimes you try not to write this as n over 2a plus n minus 1d because it becomes very confusing very quickly. So usually what I'll say is you write it as number of terms. So you take your formula, right? This is your formula book, right? You take this as, where am I? You take this as number of terms. Usually this is what I tell our students. Then this a, you just put it as a first term. Then this one is a common difference lah. So I'm going to do that. So because I do not want it to be like, so S20 is number of terms divided by 2 first term plus number of terms minus 1 common difference. Okay, because now the common difference and all the first term has got A. But I mean, you have any other, you don't need to follow me. It's just that I want you to take note that this case here is very confusing if you use the normal. So the first term is, the number of terms is 20 lah. We know it's 20. Then the first term is A plus D. The number of terms is 20 minus 1, 2D. Common difference is 2D. So I'm going to just write it down. Be very mindful of this. This is where the careless mistake comes. Okay. Once done, life is good. Everyone is good. Maybe I should just divide by 2. Can I just divide by 2 here? Hopefully my expression here becomes easier. What do we want? Oh, S20 is 960. So this is 960. Then what do we want? We want to find D, is it? Okay, so A goes to minus 4D. This will be 960 divided by 20. I not very in the mood of. It is 48. And this will be minus 4D. I'm trying very hard not to skip step here. If you have problem, you can skip if you want. This will be 3. Okay. All right.